All right, let's wait for a computer and a picture and a 5x5 and see where we go from there. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I'm here. Come on, computer. Say hello. Is my computer going to wake up? There comes my computer. And Lucky Dame takes the lead. There we go. All right. Greetings, y'all. I'm going to start here by thanking my mods tonight, Lorna, Lucky Dame, Robert, Jacob, and North Shore for being here. Y'all might be busy because obviously I pissed a few people off yesterday. And so, you know, the trolls were out and about in videos today. So just kind of fun. About half an hour ago, I posted a quick link to Christian over at Ice Age Farmer. He did a video yesterday, a couple of days ago, about what's coming next with a interview with the former head of the CDC and talking about the genetic cross of the 19 Spanish flu and the regular influenza and bird flu, okay, which we all know about H5N1, which is going across the country right now, across the world, but across the country, killed some nearly 30 million. They've had a cull near 30 million birds so far at this point. And the question comes up, well, why bird flu? Why not swine flu or mad cow or something? And if you think about it, what better way to transmit it than birds? Okay. People can be quarantined, and we can stop this. Can't really quarantine wild birds. So even if you're stuck at home and you don't go anywhere, this is the plan. Hey, if there's birds in your backyard, poof, there you go. There's, the first robin of spring. Guess what? Okay. This is another one of our good old friend Bill's funding for gain of research, gain of function deals. And I guess it goes back to 2009 where he was doing something like this. And my question comes up again. Why in the world are we trying to create deadly viruses? I mean, I get why bad players would. I get why rogue nations and militaries would. Last time I checked, Bill Gates isn't a nation. Bill Gates isn't a military. Bill Gates isn't in charge of anything, and Bill Gates can't even keep his wife happy. That's why they're getting divorced. So, this goes into more of, let's kill the population, because as the guy that Ice Age Farmer was talking about, a mortality rate of between 10 and 50%. Want to go back to the Georgia Guidestones type thing? Yeah. All right. Let's kill off half the population of, I don't know, the world. Go watch that if you haven't. Another one, Stu Peters. If you guys know who he is, you're going to find him on Rumble. STEW Peters. Go watch his video. That one, the Ice Age, is about 3 minutes long. Stu Peters is about an hour, talking about what's in the water. Okay. You might want to watch that again. Watch that as well. Those are two very eye-opening things to pay attention on to what we can be planning for coming next. All right. Obviously, I don't want to get too much detail on them because they did the research. That is their baby. And then there's certain things that, of course, I can't talk about here. So that being said, a couple of things to point out. One thing I will say here, prayers to all the families in New York who got injured today from this maniac on the subway. I was in touch with Angry Prepper, about 11:30 Eastern this morning, finding out what he knew from the ground, because originally the stories were, again, how the media puts it, there were unexploded packages or whatever it is. Fortunately, it was all smoke bombs and everything, so it wasn't, a terrorist attack in that respect or anything like that. But still, again, these are things guy hasn't been caught. We don't know reasons or anything of the sort like that. You know, originally because conversations, the train was bound for Manhattan from Brooklyn. Could it have been something against Russians or whatever? You know, apparently all that has kind of fallen by the wayside. There was nothing to it. So, you know, this sounds like just some whacked out guy who was pissed about something. Who knows? But, you know, again, prayers to all those families, you know, and prayers to treasure seekers for having to possibly put down mom's puppy. So, yeah, that's never fun, but don't think about that. Yeah, one fun one today. I got a kick out of this one. You know, the stupidity that reigns in liberal La La Land. Y'all, well, I doubt anybody watches The View. Okay, I mean, not anybody on this channel. I doubt anybody in period watches the show. But I got a kick out of Sunny Hostin coming up today. She was calling Joe Biden naive for wanting to work with Republicans. Yeah, right. Okay, because there's so many, even Democrats, that want to work with Joe on some of the stupidity he has, you know, running through Obama's mind. Joe just got to read the teleprompter. But I get a kick out of her comment. She says, I think Joe, because we all know him and adore him, he thinks the best of people, and I sometimes see the worst of people. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, lady, you do every morning when you're brushing your teeth. So, but yeah, that's, you know, the liberal lunacy going on still is unbelievable. Yeah, how the hell anybody can look at the world right now in the last 15 months and go, Joe's doing a good job. I mean, every time I see this, he's got a 42% approval rate. I'm going, I can't believe that. There aren't that many stupid people in this country. I'll give you 20, but there ain't 42% of the population is not that stupid. And please, if you still think 81 was the number in the millions a couple of years ago, I think we've proven that is just a crock of shit. But you know what I mean. So, all right. So there's a little bit of the fun tonight. We'll get into Q&A here. So, same old, same old. Stay away from the taboo subjects. You guys know what all those are. And you know, keep it PG-13. I assume we'll probably see some trolls in here. I know we're seeing them in the videos, and I'm getting a few emails from them, some of them too, and they get a tongue lashing and say bye-bye. But that's pretty much it. So we're going to keep it polite. We're going to keep it nice, and we're going to talk about whatever the hell we feel like, because this is about all of us. And last time I checked, I was still sitting in the United States, and I have a First Amendment right to talk about whatever the hell I feel like it. So if you don't like it, hit the road, Jack. That's it, okay? So, all right, let's get into this thing here. We'll start up at the top, see where we got, get through as much as what you guys want to talk about as we do. So let's see here. Whoop, that flew by real quick. I couldn't read it. Gizmo Love Sale. It's Brandy F. Thank you for all you do. Brandy, thank you very much, too. I know I get emails from you and stuff like that all the time. So thank you for what you do, too. And thank you to all of you guys for what you do. A lot of you send me stuff you heard. Somebody sent me an email here an hour or so before the show saying that there's stories about the Missouri National Guard getting called up to go to Ukraine. They're still trying to confirm it. I'm trying to confirm it, so trying to see what's going on. But I appreciate the stuff that you guys do send me. Believe me, not everything can turn into a video, okay? I don't, you know, there's certain things that you can't talk about because of YouTube rules. Other things just aren't prepper related, okay? You know, the LGBTQ stories and stuff like that, I mean, those don't affect us anyway, So, I mean, I try to keep anything that I try to talk about somehow has to relate to being a prepper. That's kind of my benchmark on it. So, but Brandy, thank you for the super chat. It is very much appreciated. LC says, are y'all going to get hit by that blizzard? My son is picking up more propane right now. I'm hoping that's not directed at me because as far as I know, there's no snow in the forecast here. It's supposed to be pushing 80 here tomorrow. So I don't think it's going to be snowing here, but I know there's a lot going up north, and I guess we got tornado watches again down south. And I talked about how they've manipulating the weather and moving the jet stream down so it goes through Texas, and then of course it's through Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, then up on us, trying to keep the wind power going in Texas. Yeah. Like Texas doesn't have a way to fuel itself anyway, right? Let's manipulate the weather. Let's destroy people down in the southeast, with tornadoes all the time. Okay. Heather Smith, AccuWeather ran an article on this season's calves in the northern plains at risk due to snowstorms and cold, etc. Yeah, I believe it because we're into birthing season here at this point. I mean, spring is typical nature doing its thing, and you're going to get problems with the farm animals freezing to death. I mean, imagine being, when a cow gives birth, it's not, in a hospital room somewhere, it's out in a field somewhere, and, baby comes out wet and it's 20 degrees outside, freeze to death quick. So yeah, we could have beef problems in the future because of that. Oh God. Mountaintop Preps is in here. Look out. There goes the neighborhood. Let's see. Must be early on here. Because I'm not seeing anything in capital letters here. Okay, where are we? Agnes Young says the powers that be always tell us what evil they're going to do. Yeah, and nobody listens. That's the thing. If this story that I was talking about at the top came out in 2009, what the hell has everybody been doing for the last 13 years? Why hasn't anybody questioned Bill Gates in 13 years? What the hell you're doing funding that kind of research? Think about that. Who said, this is a really good idea. Let's see if we can create something that'll wipe out half the population of the world. I mean, this sounds like, a Bond villain, not a human being. Kathy Swan, with Gates and Dr. Frankenauchi are adherents of the Georgia Guidestones. That's the thing. They want to see the population down to, 500 million or whatever it is in the world. I'm happy if we eliminate the population a little bit. Let's start with the two of them. That would be a good place to start. Then we could throw Hillary on top, and I think the world would be a whole lot better place real fast. Okay, let's see. Darlene Carter, what are the symptoms of bird flu, and is there a cure? From what I know, it seems like the seasonal flu, just worse. I do not know if there is a cure. I'm assuming there is, but that's why they're trying to make this weaponize this, make it even worse. I'm not well versed in all the medical portions of it and everything like that, but from what I'm hearing primarily from Christian is it's potentially very deadly to humans, and obviously deadly to birds. The birds get, I know that lethargy, blood, I'd say a bloody nose, but like a bloody beak, not eating, that sort of stuff. So, a lot of the flu symptoms that we get but then add the blood part to it. April Carey, Stu Peters, can't find him on YouTube. No, Stu Peters, you got to find on Rumble. There's no way in the world what he talks about YouTube's going to let go on. So yeah, look for him there. Double D Homestead, have I seen 2 Department of Ag secretaries? Okay, and then you stop typing, so I don't know what you're asking there. Dove J, I must have missed this. I got a kick out of Potato doing his speech today, and a bird crapping on his lapel was great. I did not see that. I got to find that. That would be about as appropriate as you get. Let's see. Whoops, just shot to the bottom. So let's get back up here. Kelly S., who's the saint on the shelf behind you? The one you can see in the picture is St. Nicholas. There's a couple other of Mrs. P's icons up there too, but the one that's always in the picture right here, that's St. Nicholas. So, not Santa Claus. Not that St. Nicholas. Never look back. In today's world, not sure if I can keep it polite, but I'll try. There you go. Okay. Rebecca H. So my 82-year-old dad got me a medical free, I'm assuming med means medical or MED. I don't know. Freeze dryer for my birthday. Okay. Rabbit's Head Kits, 16 so far. More. Wow, you've had a busy birthday. So, but happy birthday. Prosperity Now 1 filling Easter baskets. It's just me and Mrs. P. So, my daughter's, an adult at this point. So it's not like I have any kids to worry about Easter egg hunts or anything like that. So no, not a whole lot of that. Probably make a ham for dinner on Sunday. Though I saw earlier you guys talking about the prices you're paying for hams. Yeah, I've got one upstairs in the fridge I bought last year, $8. Last year. Yes. Renee Swarth, what would be the best pressure canner for a newbie? Best to invest in an all-American brand? It depends. That's all up to you. I mean, I've got one, I think it's a Presto. Okay. I mean, it was about $70. It works fine. I totally get the all-American, the quality and everything, the sort like that. But don't let the lesser name ones dissuade you from it. I mean, mine works fine. I mean, I'm not canning, 96 pints of ground beef in a weekend. Yeah. But, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to everything. Okay. Sure. The one I've got, the cheaper one, I can't stack too high on it. Okay, I can do 7 quarts and that's good. Bigger one you can do more. I mean, there's ones that can handle 9 quarts. There's one that can handle quarts and pints at the same time. All depends on what you do. You don't, this is what I've said, and this goes to anything. Better to get the $70 one and upgrade to the $300 one down the road than to save for the $300 one, not have anything now, and then find out that the world goes to hell tomorrow and you can't get anything. Okay. So that's my thought. I can always upgrade, but I want to have something that's going to work. Lentils and split peas in a mason jar and with an oxygen absorber, yes. Or yes. Absolutely put an O2 absorber in there. Rooster Cogburn, can I plant hybrid next to heirlooms without compromising a clean harvest of heirloom seeds? No, you cannot. And again, you got to remember, because what's going to happen, that pollinator, that bee, is going to go from the flower on the hybrid tomato or whatever to the flower on the heirloom tomato, and it's going to cross. It won't change anything for the fruit this year. You'll still get the same, but any of those seeds in the fruit now are going to be a cross. So if you plan on saving seeds from anything, you should have, then it depends, you'll see people say 100 yards, 200 yards, 400 yards, whatever would be. You should plan on at least not having the same thing in the same garden, so you don't get across. But what I try to remind everybody is you're if you plant those seeds next year, and again, let's say you have a hybrid tomato next to an heirloom tomato, plant the seed, you're not going to get a green pepper. Okay. You're still going to get a tomato. Just what you get may be something different. Maybe a great tomato, maybe terrible. Okay. You'll still get tomatoes. Just it won't be the same thing as what you thought it was. But if you're looking to save seeds for those heirlooms, do not plant hybrids next to them, or do not plant another heirloom next to it, because then you'll get a cross of the two. Blank Zero, all I want to say thank you for all that you do, sir. God bless. Well, you're very welcome. And I do this for all of us because I've got a little bit more time than most people. I can go dig into some of this stuff. I've got some more connections and contacts that I can talk to and information that I can do. Plus, I got somebody who can translate Russian for me. That helps. So when I find out some of that information, I can bring that to the forefront. But yes, you're most welcome, and I'm glad you appreciate the effort that's put in. Lauren Augustine, are 401ks worth keeping? Are they going to become worthless? Okay. That's a crystal ball question. Yeah, they're definitely worth keeping. The question more is, what do you invest in? Okay. Now, the reason I say 401ks are worth keeping is because, first off, the only way you can take the money out of your 401k is by taking a loan against it, okay, which it's a loan from yourself, but you still got to pay the taxes and everything on it. Or if you quit the job and then take a distribution from it, then you got to pay taxes and penalties on it. So it's not like you can walk into your HR department and say, I want to get out of my 401k. You can't do that unless you plan on quitting your job at the same time. All right. So there's the first part. The other thing is, if your company has a match, why would you want to get out? That's free money. Even if you just put your 401k in money market fund in cash, okay, you get the company match. Let's say they match you, and I know everyone's different, God knows, but let's say they match you dollar for dollar on the first 3% that you put in. Well, on that first 3% you put in, if you put the money in cash, you still have 100% return on your money. You put in 3, the company puts in 3, you now have 6. Okay. So yes, absolutely keep it in your 401k. You just have to worry about what you're invested in. And that all comes to your risk tolerance. And every 401k is different. Some have a laundry list of mutual funds that you can pick from. Others give you a very short list that you can pick from. They're all different. Okay. But, look at what your risk tolerance is. When back in the days of me being a broker, I used to advise people, depending on their risk tolerance, that the only places that you needed to put money in at the time, again, was an S&P 500 fund and maybe a bond fund in cash. And you'd split it between the S&P 500, the Treasury fund, and cash, depending on your risk tolerance. The reason I say this, okay, and this still holds true today, the S&P 500 outperforms 80% of the other mutual funds when the market's going up. The S&P 500 outperforms 80% of other mutual funds when the market's going down. I'm going to take my chances. I'm good enough with 4 out of 5 times, no matter what the market does, I'm going to do better. Okay. Sure. 1 out of 5 times, some active manager is going to do better. I got higher expense ratios. I've got higher 12B1 fees. No. Okay. That was it. I'm not giving anybody financial advice. That was what I used to tell my clients. But then again, I also sat down with them and I could tell them, all right, based on your risk tolerance, it was a 70-30, 70-20-10, or a, 60-30-10 split, whatever it would be. Okay, there's a little bit more to it. Look at your risk tolerance. That's the most important thing. But just to cash in a 401k, no. Positive Catitude. Do I have a favorite way of preserving chicken and eggs? Uh, we eat them. I mean, that's it. Uh, I I don't have any eggs stored for the simple reason is Mr. and Mrs. Mountaintop Preps have eggs literally coming out of their ass, or at least out of the chickens, uh, constantly. So I don't have to worry about getting eggs at this point. And if it comes to an SHTF situation, I've got a boatload of powdered eggs in my pantry that I'm good to go on. Sure, it's not going to get me my sunny side up eggs or whatever it is, but I can still whip those into an omelet or something like that if I need to, or cook with them. Rooster says, I'll check and see if I can find out in the National Guard here in Missouri. Yeah, I even looked in their webpage and couldn't find anything there. So, like I said, it was a story I've got. Haven't got confirmation, but that's why I appreciate you guys telling me those things, because then we can start digging somewhere and get the news out. I mean, again, it's the same thing like the whole Mariupol thing yesterday. Notice that the mainstream media really still isn't talking about it other than maybe a little bit of a blurb. Okay. Because they don't have the time, they don't have the will to do the investigation or to do the analysis on it. That's the problem. They're just a bunch of parrots that are, say whatever's put in front of them. Recycled cottage and garden. Why am I pixelated? I have no idea. Okay. Could be your connection. I'm looking at maybe a little bit. The only thing I can think of possible, because it just flashed on me just a hair, is because lately I've been doing the camera through 4G because it seemed that we had that drop off when I was using my Wi-Fi lately. So it could be that. That's about the only thing. Other than that, I'm looking at the screen. The screen looks fine. It's probably lower def than definitely the picture on the computer is lower def than what I see on the camera. Mama Preps 4. We woke up to almost a foot of snow in southwest Montana this morning. It's funny. Mrs. P and I, when we bought this place, we looked at Montana, we looked at North Idaho, everything like that. And as beautiful as the area was, I'm glad there were things that turned us to Tennessee rather than Montana or Idaho or anything like that, because I'd be going nuts if it was mid-April and I couldn't be outside by now. I'm not I like 8 months of winter type person. I struggle through 3 months of winter. Oh my God, Deborah Scott, North Dakota is going to get 36 inches of snow. Oh, jeez. Prosperity Now One. Did I get $25 gift? YouTube. I didn't see anything. The only super chat that's come through was the Gizmo Love Sale one from Brandy earlier. Beautiful day. Question: did your peas survive all the cold snaps? Oh yes, and because I get out and fertilize my pea with my own personally made, literally in my kidneys made fertilizer, my pea leaves are that big around. I mean, they're enormous. So, and the pea plants themselves are probably a foot or so high already at this point. So yeah, they are growing quite nicely. But yeah, they're getting plenty of nitrogen, so that's what they like. Let's see. Mama Preps 4 again. There's hardly any milk at Albertsons right now. All that's left is the really expensive stuff. I've noticed that when we go to the store, it's hit or miss. We'll go in sometime, there'll be none. And then we'll go in the next time and it's stacked to the gills. I don't know what's going on. And I mean, there's 3 different grocery stores we go to, and it's like that in all of them. Sometimes there's milk, sometimes there's not. It's about the only thing that I see that's either yes or no. I mean, always other things, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but the completely gone stuff is milk. And, milk is not one of those things that you really can prep. I mean, yeah, you can freeze it, but, it's not like, gee, honey, let's work on our preps this week. I'm going to go out and buy 20 gallons of milk. That's powdered maybe, but liquid milk, no. Uh, but yeah, I've seen similar here. Montana Grizz fan. Boy, a lot of stuff out of Montana tonight. Montana Grizz fan. What do you think of the lockdown of over 120 million people in China at Shanghai? How will that affect the supply chain and will it come here? Yeah, stories, the people are literally starving. They can't go anywhere. And if you guys saw at least the photographs that came out over the weekend, you had Chinese officials down in the streets and the people were screaming at them out of their apartments. I mean, again, you're talking about high-rise apartments and stuff like that. We're starving. We're starving. We need food. We need food. And the officials didn't even acknowledge that they were screaming at them. Okay. And this is the problem. China's had this zero COVID policy. Okay. They're going to lock down everybody. And that was how they were going to get rid of it. Okay. Obviously, it didn't work. And then you look at how, let's say, Florida, or a lot of the United States, at least, because most of us, said this to the mandates, we don't seem to be having the same problem here. And why? I have a tendency to think that a lot of us probably caught it and didn't even know we had it. You didn't get bad symptoms or whatever it would be. I mean, again, remember all the PCR tests, they have a 50% failure rate. So, it's like flipping a coin, to whether or not your test was positive or negative. So, it was useless. But, if you caught it, then all of a sudden you had some natural immunity to it. Well, if the Chinese haven't been able to go anywhere, there's no way anybody could have got natural immunity. And so now they have the other problem of nobody going to work, so nothing's getting done. I mean, they're starving, but it's not like there's any in the grocery stores to go buy food or anything like that. But there's nobody out in the fields to pick vegetables. There's nobody in the ports to load ships, to do whatever. So yeah, we're all going to feel this continually for anything that gets shipped over, comes out of the ports in Shanghai. This is so obvious as to why we shouldn't have all our eggs in one basket. One is none, on all our manufacturing being done in China. The funny thing is, what I don't see at all or hear out of Washington whatsoever is any sort of incentive, and this has been going on for a couple of years now, for companies to bring their manufacturing back to the United States so we can alleviate the shipping backups, the supply chain problems, everything like that. You'd think one of the first things somebody would have said is, I don't know, pick one, company that makes springs, let's just say that, works on a carburetor. Granted, I know we're all fuel injected cars. I'm just using this as an example. Makes anything, okay? Thimbles. Why don't you, because we can't get them from over there, why don't you start producing them here? I haven't heard that anywhere. You'd think the government would come up and say, with all this other one, oh, you want to open a business and you're a migrant? We'll give you, you don't have to pay any taxes for 7 years if you open your new business. Yeah, that's actually what happens. You think do that for, American Thimble Company, say, hey, you know what? We'll give you a tax break to bring all your manufacturing back here. Do they do that? No. We're more worried about pronouns. Ann Palmer got a Berkey delivered today. Back up to my backup. Got here quick. Good deal. Okay. Irish Rebel, thank you for the super chat. Yes, but no chat. Thank you. Godsmack 12. I don't understand the question. What is Hello Frostproof Florida? I don't understand what you're asking. Old Nance, did anyone see E15 GAs? Oh, E15 gas. Okay. Yeah, I did a video on that this morning. That is not supposed to roll out till June 1st. But I've got emails from a few of you guys today who are mechanics who work in small engine repair, saying the exact same thing I did. Do not run E15 through anything. Okay. And just so you, there's a difference between E85 and E15. E85 is the stuff that you put in these flex fuel vehicles. Okay. You can't run that stuff through a regular car. E15 is the stuff they want us, that Joe wants us to run through our regular cars. They're taking E10 now. You go to the gas station, put unleaded gas in your car. You know, it says may contain up to 10% ethanol. Okay, that's E10. The sign's just going to say may contain up to 15% ethanol. Don't use it. Okay, pay for. Like I said this morning's video, I know, oh my God, you're asking me to pay something more expensive. Yeah, if you want to save your car, buy the mid-grade gas, okay? Nothing worse than nothing with more ethanol than 10%. Robert Bates asking Mountaintop Preps, who has the better garden soil, you or Pinball? I'd be interested to see what his answer is. Though I did go up and look at his garden the other day. He got it all tilled in and everything like that. Huge. What is it? I think it's 80 by 50 or something like that. So yeah, he's got 4,000 square feet of garden. Makes me jealous. 5-acre gardener. What dehydrator would I recommend? Pretty much anyone you can afford. Okay. It's not rocket science here. I've got, again, a relatively cheap one. I think it's a 5-tray one that we use, I mean, I think I've told you before, primarily we use it to dehydrate fish. I'll go out and catch bluegill, and Mrs. P will dehydrate some bluegill, so she's got some fish jerky, if you will, to gnaw on. But, they run the gamut from, smaller ones to monster ones, everything like that. Again, this is one of those, think how much you're going to use it. No need to go spend $500 on one if all you're going to do is dehydrate the strawberries that you grow. Okay, get a smaller one. If you've got a massive garden and you're going to be dehydrating like crazy, buy a bigger one. Okay, but I can't really. I have never done a comparison between them. I've got one, but I bought a affordable one. That was it. Country Humans Grease fan watching from Minnesota with tornadoes to the south and Iowa with 2 feet of snow in northwest Minnesota. Yep, and all those people who don't think the grand solar minimum is real. Yeah. Don't tell me this is normal weather for mid-April, okay? 3 feet of snow in North Dakota. Doof. Paul Goen, the E15 gas impact on food. Well, okay, here's the issue. And again, I kind of touched on this morning. Ethanol is made from corn, okay? And yes, it's not the same corn that we eat, okay? They're not making it from sweet corn. They're making it from pretty much the same corn that you're feeding your cattle or whatever with, all right? But it takes a whole lot of nitrogen to grow corn. A lot. Corn is a very heavy feeder. Corn is a grass, guys, if you didn't know that, okay? So think about when you put lawn fertilizer on your lawn, if you've got one, and look at the NPK on it. It's like 3500. It's extremely heavy in nitrogen. That's what corn needs. Well, if all of a sudden we're using all this nitrogen to grow corn, dent corn primarily, or feed corn, for gasoline, that's nitrogen that we're not using to grow food. So this is where the problem comes in. We're going to use the fertilizer, the limited amount of fertilizer we have, to grow something that is not good for us, i.e. damaging your car, your small engine, as opposed to using it to grow something that will feed us. This is why I said in this morning's video, Joe's an idiot for coming up with this idea. North Shore, Gates can't even cure a computer virus. Yeah, no kidding. You can't do anything about a computer virus, but man, he can figure out the rest of them. Grace Tarver, let's start with politicians worldwide. I'll agree with you there. Okay, there's a cold place in hell for probably 99% of the politicians in this country. Oh, did you guys see the question today? They were asking Mitt Romney if he was going to run again in 2024. He can't make up his mind. Okay. Utah, you're on the clock. Find somebody else, anybody. Brad Marler, is vacuum sealing with O2 absorbers in 5-gallon buckets a good way to store dried goods? I think you're talking overkill there. If you're going to vacuum seal them, you don't need to put an O2 absorber in there because all you're doing is sucking all the air out anyway. And I'm assuming you're talking about putting it in a bag of some sort because you're not going to vacuum seal a 5-gallon bucket. But yeah, you don't need to, that's overkill. Once you suck all the air out vacuum sealing something, you don't need the O2 absorber. But yes, that's an excellent way to store dry goods. That's pretty much what everybody's doing with Mylar bags, and throwing an O2 absorber in there is pretty much vacuum sealing it that way. Voodoo Queen, hello. I just emailed a friend that is in the Missouri National Guard. He said, just talk, no decision as of yet. Thank you. Okay. Trying to get clarification on that. I appreciate the intel that you're giving me. The scary part is there's talk about it, okay? Because from the other person said sending them to Ukraine. Are we sending them to Poland, or are we sending them to Ukraine? And why do we need to call up the National Guard to do that? Okay, this is my question. Why the National, and apparently what this guy told me is it was 12 Bravos, combat engineers, okay? So you have active duty military, which would go first, reservists, which would go second, National Guard, which would go third. National Guard is to guard the nation. Sending them overseas is usually when you've exhausted everybody from the active duty and the reserves. So that was the other thing that kind of threw me. But if you guys hear anything, please let me know. Matthew Trucking, North Shore, do you ever sleep? Well, Matthew, I'm going to ask you the same thing. I see you first thing in the morning and you're on the road. I hope you're sitting somewhere in a cab going, okay, I'm on my break right now. UNA says, sure they are. Another bout of gene-altering therapy? No thanks. Yeah, no kidding. What Fauci say? He's recommending everybody over 50 get the 4th booster. Great. That's my answer. Elizabeth, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Pam Fury, I don't want my blood pressure up, but I love it when you're on a roll. What we took my blood pressure, I think it was 139 over 85 or something. We took my blood pressure shortly before the show, so it was a little high, but not bad. I'm still taking my medicine. Getting more exercise too now that the weather's nice, so a little of the winter weight I've got to take off now. B Deering 11, they told us there is no cure for the bird flu. There is a vaccine if they get it when they're first born. Okay, yeah, like I said, I'm not thoroughly knowledgeable at it, so I'm not the person to ask. Maurice Jensen, what do I think about 4 Patriots emergency food supply for prepping? I've seen it. I think it's very expensive for what you get. As compared to some of the other ones, I think 4 Patriots is too expensive. Again, my opinion. Grace Tarver says, I heard they already have a vaccine for bird flu in humans. Okay. Again, yes, no, I don't know. I can't tell you. Leo Wife, what do I fertilize my blueberries with? Haven't yet. Like I said, got to put some soil acidifier in there. But then you're just going to use a regular fruit tree type fertilizer for it. I've got Job's fruit and nut fertilizer, which that will work fine from. They're too small for the fertilizer now because they're just little sticks. But you're eventually just going to use one of those stakes that you put in like for a fruit tree. Rough Sean, have you seen the hand pump for your drilled well kit on eBay? No, because I never look for them because I've got a hand pump on my well. So it's not something that I go look for because I've already got one. Okay, whoops, moving the computer around too far. Come on, there we go. All right, back to where we were. Where? Hang on, I'm trying where we were in the chat here. Okay, as far as I can go. Angels Arrive says China's delivering food to people. I read. Yeah, okay, but try delivering food to a city of 12 million people. Okay, how many delivery drivers do you have to get around that big? Sweet savory words. Heard they have Chinese drones flying, telling people to control their soul for their freedom. Interesting. Mountaintop perhaps being a smartass. When's the next get together? I think we're having it in your backyard. Brandon, can I recommend a book that breaks down what the different nutrients vegetables need? I don't even know of one. The best thing I can say, the internet can be your friend. Look at what you're going to plant and, okay, I'm planting corn. It needs a lot of nitrogen. I'm planting potatoes. It needs a lot of phosphorus, whatever it would be. I mean, you look it up vegetable by vegetable, or fruit by fruit. That would be the best thing to do because, two things that you think might be the same aren't necessarily then. And the last thing you need to do is, here's the section on, leafy greens and, like unless you're growing kale and spinach and chard and everything like that, it's like, okay, you don't need that. So look up the ones specifically. There's tons of information you can find online. It's like nutrients for potatoes, enter, poof, there's your answers. Healthy disrespect for authority. Is there anything that grows well in bad soil besides fire ants? Raspberries do very well in crappy soil. Not much in the way of vegetables that I can think of. You're going to be talking about more along the lines of your fruits that are, I mean, and not you're going to talk about perennials. Perennials will do better in bad soil than annuals will. Annuals are going to need good soil. But, think about your fruit trees, okay? You're dig a hole. Fruit tree, obviously the roots get bigger than that 1 square foot hole you dig or whatever, or your strawberries spread out or something like that. Your perennials will do a lot better than your annuals. But yeah, not a whole lot, not anything I can think of in vegetables that are going to grow well in bad soil. Never look back. How is China producing anything if everyone is still locked down? Well, if you've seen this, since all this has come down, a lot of the Chinese people, the workers, have been forced to live and sleep and everything at their place of employment. Okay, so if you work in an office, you sleep in your office. If you work in a factory, you're sleeping in the factory. They're quarantined into their workplace in a lot of places. So yeah, you sleep, you get up, you work, you eat, you sleep, you get up, you work. That's it. That's how they're doing it. So no, it's not a false flag. It's actually what's going on. Darlene Carter, have I heard that you can coat chicken eggs with mineral oil and they will last 1 year? Yeah, and I don't know if it's true. If you're talking about water glassing eggs, yeah, as long as they're fresh eggs, yeah, that's fine. You're good. But I've heard stories where people are saying, oh, you can do that with store-bought eggs. And I don't think is true, but don't quote me on that one. But yeah, water glassing eggs and stuff like that, as long as they're fresh chicken eggs, yeah, you can store them on the counter and they're fine. Just make sure you drop them in water, and if they float, they're no good. Let's see. Durgan says, we said that during the first lockdowns when we ran out of Chinese-made medication, as soon as they opened up with cheap drugs, we went back to the trough. Isn't that the truth? You know, it's like, oh, okay, we spent so long in lockdown, and it's like we didn't learn a damn thing. And you know, it, I understand you're not going to companies aren't going to build new factories in 3 months, but you can. How fast did we convert factories from building, I don't know, toasters to ventilators when COVID first came about? I mean, it was in a couple of days, and all of a sudden they're building. I mean, how difficult is it to change from making, I don't know, just saying, Tylenol to statins? It's a freaking pill. All the only difference is what ingredients you put in the hopper at the front of the production line for it comes out at the back of the production line. Francis Zayat's, at least America should be making its own medicine. Ain't that the truth? Cindy Rice, anyone hear of Essentials freeze-dried food? That one I've not heard of, no. Scrolling down. Life Force Unleashed. What about E30 fuel? I've never even heard of that. So wouldn't even know what you'd use it for. Brian Castler, if you could burn stupidity, Potato Head could go to the moon. Hell, think of Congress. We could discover new universes. North Shore says you can dehydrate in the oven if you need to. There you go. That's, yeah. I mean, low temperature, low and slow wins the race. So, let's see. Robert Bates, did I see that Constantine posted that Putin's restarting their space program? Yeah, I saw that. I didn't watch the video. I was busy all day, but I saw his thumbnail or whatever says going to the moon or whatever it is. Like he doesn't have anything else on his plate right now. I don't know. Montana Grizz fan, it should be in the 50s here in Montana. We have over a foot of snow and counting. Again, grand solar minimum. Hey, hello. Patty Carnes, hey, Pinball, we love you in the Northeast Georgia mountains. Thank you. Appreciate that. Not too far away from you. Let's see. Schulte Family Homestead, natural arthritis remedy. Do not know. That would be a Mrs. Mountaintop Preps question. Next time, she's watching, so maybe she will answer in here somewhere, because she's our Meg medicine woman. Yarn Prepper, Wisconsin's definitely feeling the grand solar minimum, worried about our shorter growing season. Yeah, and think about that. If you're worried about that for your garden, think about all the farms that are up there, okay? Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, shorter growing season, less food again. You know, are you guys catching this? It's like anything and everything that can be done to screw up the food supply is being done. All right, fuel cost, fertilizer, weather, whatever it would be. And this is what dumbfounds me when people go, it'll all get better in a couple of weeks. No, you can't stretch out the growing season. It's not like, oh, you know what? There's still snow on the ground in Wisconsin. We'll make sure it doesn't snow until December so you guys can catch up. You know, I don't know. This is, people are going to, eventually the light bulb's going to go off and they're going to go, holy crap, $25 for 6 ounces of scallops? I mean, like I said, $6, $7 for a pack of lunch meat? North Shore texted me earlier today, $8 for a pound of butter? Yeah, when are you guys going to realize it ain't getting better? This is the new normal. And I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying the normies out there. When are they going to realize? Sunshine Me says, yes, only farm fresh, not washed, no grocery store eggs. Good. Okay, that's what I was, as far as I knew, too. Michelle G, what do I think about Planet X? I think it has a lot to do with the jet stream. Yeah, I don't know. Krypton, I think, is nice this time of year, though. Oh, wait a minute. No, never mind. It blew up. So, Mama Preps for I went to another store. They can't get any whole milk. They don't know why. Yeah. Angels arrive. I purchased an air fryer at Costco that also does dehydration, bakes, roasts, and broils. Was on sale. Ooh, that's a neat thing. You know, get the hell is that? Okay, it sounds like fireworks outside. Uh, Elizabeth Nelson, how many potatoes do I grow a year? Last year we got about 150 pounds. This year I planted more because we just finished using all the potatoes that we grew last year, so they only made us about 9 months. So I planted a bigger plot in the garden this year, and what do I have? 480 square feet of potatoes this year, so I'm hoping to get about 200 pounds of potatoes. And that's what the two of us will go through in a year. In normal times. I'm not talking about SHDF yet. So, Gareth Singleton, what did Bill Gates' wife say to them on her wedding night? So that's why you call it Microsoft. We always got to have the joke. Okay. Brenda Rayburn. Pinball, I work part-time at a big box building supply store, and they told us last week that industry-wide there will be a shortage in riding mowers due to part shortages. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, this time of year, you think this is, pretty much where everybody's starting to mow the lawn. I just did mine for the first time yesterday, unless you're in North Dakota where you have 3 feet of snow. But yeah, the part shortages, I mean, again, it depends on the brand probably too. I mean, uh, because if all of a sudden you're buying something that is not made in America, okay, think of Husqvarna or something like that. I mean, I don't believe it's made in the United States. Don't quote me on that one. But you start looking at a lot of these things that are made in China or whatever. Sure, you're not gonna be able to get parts. So this comes into play where buy something made in the U.S. I mean, I've got the mower that we bought is a Bad Boy. That's the brand of it. It's made in Arkansas, I believe. So, Chris Langley, did I hear if Berkeley filters out uranium? Yes. Berkeley filters out 99.9% of heavy metals, and I believe it was 97% of uranium. I had a bunch of people that confirmed that with me. Probably 24 people sent me the details on this. So yes, a Berkey is good for getting rid of heavy metals and stuff like that, and uranium. So that helps. Francis Zayek again. Is it possible that China is on lockdown for something more virulent? I talked about that a few months back. Yeah, that's still what I think it is. I think there's something they've got contained within China, but I think it's more than just another variant of COVID, because as we've all seen, the variants get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker as we're going down. Why are you locking down 12 million people? Oops, down to the bottom again. Holy crap, it's 3 minutes too. All right, I'm going to just scan a couple of them here. Per Kayla, just wanted you to know that I really appreciate all the time and effort you put into videos to keep us all updated and informed. You are very welcome. Tony Geary, with all the stuff you can't find or buy, how about a local farmer? I've talked about that many times. To find a farmer, find a rancher, find the guy who has cows, find somebody who has chickens, goats, whatever it is that you need. Again, this is kind of how you build a mag. If you can get a connection with somebody to get your eggs, your beef, whatever it is, there's going to be a time where he's going to go, damn, I need green beans. And you go, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 20 pounds of green beans for 10 pounds of, chicken or whatever it would be. That's how it's going to come about. Brenda H., do all cucumbers grow on a vine? As far as I know, I don't know of any that don't. North Shore, a normie in my live last night damned preppers for turning folks away. She got a piece of my mind. Turning folks away, I'm assuming you're talking about turning folks away saying, hi, I don't have anything. Will you feed me? No, sorry, damn me. You know what? If you don't like it, go to the store now. Good. I'm glad you gave her a piece of your mind. Lisa Foster, Pinball. Can't our government take back the farms that China bought by eminent domain? I think eventually that will happen, yes. Right now, they just don't want to upset the apple cart. Sammy Sam, what about if you're retired? What about your 401k then, or whatever retirement accounts you have? Okay, so if you've already retired, then you're leaving your money in your 401k. This will be the last one I do real quick. Don't, all right? Roll over your 401k into an IRA, whether it's at your bank, whether you've got a brokerage account at, I don't know, Merrill Lynch or Charles Schwab or whatever it would be. The first reason for doing that is you have a boatload more availability in what you can buy. You're not limited to the mutual funds that the company picked for the 401k plan. So that's the first thing to do. Okay. Second off, once you've got the IRA, if you want to take a withdrawal, it's a hell of a lot easier to get it out of an IRA. You can get that done in a couple of days, where getting it out of your 401k is like pulling teeth. Okay. So first step, anything, if you're retired, get your IRA rolled over into a 401k. Then remember, depending on if you've got, and again, this is getting into financial advice, but you can always, if you had a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, then you don't have to worry about taxes. If you don't, you're still going to be taxed. If it's a traditional IRA or traditional 401k, then anything that you take out is going to be taxable. So you've got to weigh that on what's going to move your tax bracket too. Last thing you want to do is take out $2 more that puts you into a higher tax bracket, and all of a sudden you've got less money in your pocket. You took out more. But very first thing you need to do if you're retired is get the money out of a 401k, go to the bank, go to your brokerage and say, I want to do a rollover, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about. So, and somebody there bounced a quick super chat at the end. Let's see if I can find out what it was. I saw it real quick. There it is. Curlew69. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. All right, guys, 9:00. I'm assuming Angry Prepper has probably already started 1 minute in, and I think we all need to hear what's going on with the New York subway tonight. So have a good evening. We'll see you all in the morning. Pinball out.